Not a fan of early access anymore, but I am a fan of this series, so we'll take the initiative to see how this will do in the video game market. I had a lot of fun playing Killing Floor over the years, and now we have Killing Floor 2 by Tripwire Interactive. It's on Steam's early access, so interpret that however you want. But for the game itself, will it live up to everyone's expectations? Let's find out! For those of you who are unfamiliar with the game, here's how it plays out. The objective is to survive multiple waves of monsters, which they call specimens, and between each wave, you can buy and sell stuff with the trader on the map. You have multiple classes to choose from. You can use any weapon you want, but you usually go with the weapons associated with your class since you get bonuses for them, and you can only carry a certain amount based on the weight you carry, usually 1 or 2 weapons. I really like how they combined the leveling up requirements into a single experience pool. Killing Floor 1 had the requirement, for example the support class, to deal X amount of damage with shotguns and weld Y amount of hit points for doors, and that was annoying because I had to constantly sit by a door and continuously weld it, just to meet the welding requirement. Here I can do either of them, and they both give me experience to level the support class, and although you're still grinding away to level up, this simpler system does away with much of the unfun and unnecessary grind. They also redesigned the perks for each class. In addition to the weapon bonuses, you can activate one of 2 perks that are unlocked every 5 levels. Support level 5 unlocks a perk that makes me a walking ammo container, so once per wave, every player can grab some extra ammo from me. Commando level 5 unlocks an aura that reveals the invisible stalkers to everyone around me. A lot of these perks still need to be rebalanced of course, but it seems like a really useful perk is always paired with a not so useful one, so it's a no-brainer which one you should pick. The classes are more or less the same here, though I do like how they redesigned the Berserker class. It's originally a purely melee tanky class, but here they changed it up a bit to give it a makeshift ranged arsenal like a nail gun and a circular saw launcher. Pretty cool weapons all around, but it feels kind of odd that a sledgehammer can run out of ammo. Every other class seems to have small tweaks here and there, but they play out the same, and you pretty much have the same weapons with cool new skins and animations. A few classes are still missing. The Sharpshooter, Firebug, and Demolitions are not in the game. I'm not sure if they're going to reinstate them or not, or perhaps introduce new classes to replace them. The monsters are much more aggressive this time around. Instead of the slow-moving, predictable movements, they weave from side to side, and the ones that rush you when they get close will also lower their heads. The stalkers are much harder to see when they're invisible, and the clots will screw up your aim when they grab you. Even the final boss got a rework. No more going invisible and running away to regenerate. He's a straight up badass with a bunch of weapons. Nerve gas, explosives. He even runs up to you and tries to choke you to death while everyone else tries to save you. So the game is much more difficult. It's harder to land those headshots, but it doesn't feel like anything became tankier. They're harder to kill because they're harder to hit. Despite it being early access, I think there's too few maps available. There's only 3 maps. Like, really? 3? They seem like good maps and very replayable maps, but there's only 3 of them. I was hoping for at least 6, because chances are you're not going to like one of them. One of the other problems I'm having is the micro-stuttering. Sometimes it looks and feels smooth to play, other times it has these very slight stutters that make the game harder to control, and it seems like the frame rate is dropping, but nope. The video was recording without any problems, so you don't see it here. It's a constant 60 frames per second everywhere. Not a performance issue, it's something else. So far, it seems like a game on the right track. It has all the right ideas in place and a solid foundation for a really good game. It just needs to play smoother, and it needs more content. With only 3 maps and 4 classes, it can get boring very quickly. In fact, I'm already bored of it, and I think a lot of people feel the same way in the analysis. As usual, everyone will want to cash in on their reviews and let's plays of the game, but because of the very limited content here, the interest in the game and the player base will decline rapidly. If you're a content creator who wants to do something with Killing Floor 2, do it now, or wait until the game is finished. I highly doubt they'll release a new map in this time frame. If they already had another map in the pipeline, they would have released it. It's early access, everything is allowed to be rough around the edges. This tells me they don't have a map that's close to being ready for the public. Wait a few months and then we'll see another map, or maybe another class, but we'll also see a significantly smaller player base by this time. That shouldn't be surprising because there's barely anything here to play. You shouldn't have too much trouble finding people to play with, but they'll only be crowding around a handful of servers. I don't think we'll see any major changes within this time frame, but the development of the game will continue. There's not a whole lot to talk about here, we just won't see much action. The game is $30, the same price I paid for Killing Floor 1. It's a good price for a game like this, except the game isn't done yet. The only way I can see anyone getting their money's worth for this game is if they played Killing Floor 1 extensively and enjoyed it thoroughly. Someone like me, I think the game is awesome, but for someone who's never played it before or just couldn't get into the game, you won't be impressed, especially with the very limited content available. I really think they should have began this with more maps. The game in its current state is for Killing Floor fans and people who want to be a part of the development process, but I think they released it into early access way too early for its own good. The finished product will be amazing. Too bad it's not finished. Most of you should not even touch this game yet, but we'll see if that changes in a few months when we do the follow-up. Thanks for watching.